boundary and along the boundary. So I know I'm talking very specifically about the meteorology here, but that's exactly what I'm looking at out here in First Alert Storm Command. That's why we are located where we are. We're watching it close. Back to you.
That Tuttle South starting to... Yeah, definitely watching that, and definitely looking at this cell that's going to be down by Tuttle. It's going to be right just south of the boundary, but it's starting to get kind of that elongated look to it. This is what we're talking about right here. Tuttle, as you go just north of Pecasset, going to see some inflow areas into the cell. Definitely this storm is concerning. While, again, it's not warned on yet, definitely watching this one. Jonathan, highlight the skip and see what information our radar is starting to tell us with this cell right here. So we've got a BTI that's starting to climb. They're about a 4.2. That's our tornado index right now. Once that starts going over a 5, definitely going to be very much concerned as that storm continues to increase. Not a whole lot of hail in it yet, but it's moving fast to the north-northeast at 40 miles per hour. So storm track with that part of the storm goes to Pecasset. Right about now, Tuttle 350, Mustang 414, Clarence Page Airport there in El Reno 423, Wheatland Banner by 425, 427. If it can continue going due north, that's to make it more of a hail producer. If it starts to take more of a northeasterly, even easterly move, then it becomes more of a tornado producer. Now, these storms down here are definitely going to be ones of particular concern. As you can see from Chickasha to Ninnekah, all this now lifting up to the northeast. So, as we told you earlier today, storms will start going up by 3 o'clock. We really want to make sure that you're home by 4. As these storms are going to move, then you can see Sky 5 on the left-hand side of your television screen. They are currently in Chickasha. Rain coming in on Sky 5. As you can see, Sky 5 located right there, right over the turnpike, moving up to the northeast here. Cloud bases are very low. Instability is quite high. Today has all the makings of being a severe weather day in Oklahoma. I know we haven't really had a whole lot of severe weather days in Oklahoma. Last year was very quiet for us, but if you're new to Oklahoma, this is what you need to do. First things first, download the KOCO 5 mobile app. We go where you go. Should you lose power, you can still watch our coverage streaming there on television or on your app for you. Number 2 is find the innermost room of your house, something that does not have any windows. That's where you want to go should a tornado warning be issued if you do not have a storm shelter. If you do have a storm shelter, then you can go ahead and go in that. So those are kind of the severe weather safety tips to keep in mind as we go now into the very beginning, very end of April, and tomorrow it's going to be May. So severe weather season is definitely here. So right now, do not have any severe thunderstorm warnings that are ongoing across central Oklahoma, but definitely going to be watching that one as we go into the afternoon and into the evening as the risk for severe weather is going to continue to increase. Right now, only working one severe thunderstorm warning down in southwestern parts of the state, and as Jonathan here shows you the velocity, still looking at some of that rotation that is happening right now, just very close to Tuttle once again with her velocity. So areas of spin inside the atmosphere definitely there. While we've been talking a lot about the hail threat today and the tornado risk for today, also very much need to be concerned about the threat for some flooding. We're going to see quite a bit of rain that's going to move in as we go into the evening. We'll send it over to Abigail Ogle for an update of the newscast. Abigail.
Damon, thank you. Quick update for our friends in Edmond. After-school activities canceled for you. Sporting events, any type of activity in Edmond canceled. Same with Oklahoma City Public Schools in anticipation for possible severe weather. Putnam City, no after-school activities for you as well. Stillwater let their kids out early if parents wanted to come pick them up. Same in Moore. The OSU baseball game is canceled. So you'll see a lot of these districts decide to cancel their afternoon activities and sporting events. Also, I wanted to get an update for you here on power outages. We're close to 4,000 power outages, customers without power with the electric co-op, the Oklahoma Electric Co-op. Most of those are going to be in northeastern Oklahoma, the Osage Reservation, Osage County. But we have a bunch, too, still from that storm that went through Pontotoc County. Our friends down in Ada, close to 650 members down there without power. So as Damon was saying, make sure you have the KOCO mobile app, a great resource, especially if you run out of power, because it could happen. Make sure those phones are charged, or maybe you still use a radio. Just make sure you have something, because again, 4,000 members without power right now. That's just the Oklahoma Electric Co-op. I'm also keeping close tabs too, Damon, on Oklahoma City response tracker as we get close to the evening commute. So let me get you an update on that. And this is just the Oklahoma City Metro. Have about, well, they're responding to several, I would say, well, let me check here, about 15 calls right now. That's a lot normally for 3:30 in the afternoon. That's something we normally see closer to 5 o'clock. Many non-injury accidents, a couple of injury accidents. So be careful on your drive home. Starting to maybe get a little bit slick out there with the rain coming down. You're taking 2 live looks here. The upper left hand is going to be Oklahoma City, and then Pauls Valley there lower. And then of course the live radar here on the big portion of your screen. Tornado watch in effect until 11 o'clock. Damon.
Yeah, severe thunderstorm warning is going to be issued for this northern Grady cell right here. That's one that's going to be near Minco, as we have been showing you. Definitely seeing at least some rotation within this. And while it's not tornado warned yet, all storms have to start somewhere. So definitely watching this one closely. So you're going to see a yellow flashing box pop up on the radar here very soon. And again, that's going to be a severe thunderstorm warning that's going to be inside of a tornado watch. That watch goes into effect until 11 o'clock, and it does include this part of the state. So severe thunderstorm warning coming for northern parts of Grady County. That will carry it into the metro. There is Sky 5 looking right into this, and you can see on the upper left-hand side of your television screen, that is Sky 5 right there. Just look how low those clouds are. And it's not going to take much at all for a tornado to touch the ground today, given just how low our cloud bases are today. So definitely one of those days where it definitely has that severe weather feel to it. If you stepped outside and more in Norman today, you definitely can tell, hey, it's very warm. If you're up in Edmond, you're saying it's kind of cold right now. But that warmer air is lifting up to the north, and so is that risk for severe weather. So as you can see here, Sky 5 bringing you a bird's eye view. We also have that threat for severe weather that continues, extends all the way down to the south here. We have Nick Smith, Sky 5, Stephen Jones, Chris field meteorologist Michael Armstrong, and also Shane Helton. So there you go. Severe thunderstorm warning was just issued. It does include Oklahoma City. It does include Yukon, eastern parts of Canadian County, and it does go up to Edmond. And as we read the specs on this, this is going to be for, as of right now, 60-mile-an-hour winds and quarter-size hail, although as the storm continues to move up to the north, I expect that the hail core is going to grow even more so inside the storm. So very detailed storm track up to the north-northeast, going toward the Xerox plant at 4 o'clock, 3:59. Yukon High School, 4:01. Outlet Mall, 4:03. Bethany, 4:10. War Acres, 4:11. Surrey Hills Neighborhood, 4:11. We go towards Lake Hefner in the Village, 4:17, 4:19. The Greens Country Club there at 4:20. Community of Britain at 4:20. Mercy Hospital, Heritage Hall, Quail Creek Mall a little after 4:20 as well. This is why we were saying get home by 4 o'clock, because you would start to see severe thunderstorms moving in. And what concerns me is you can easily see this boundary. Any storm that rolls right over this boundary right here could very well begin to rotate, and we can see it on our radar. That's why Storm Command is right here. That's why Chris Lee is right here. As the storm continues to move up to the north-northeast and it encounters this boundary, the potential for it to spin, rotate even more so, definitely going to be there. That hail core is going to be right on the Canadian River as you go just 3 miles north of Tuttle, as you go just about 5 miles southwest of Mustang. It's where that black is going to be, and it looks like a wall cloud. Let's go to Sky 5. Let's pull up Sky 5 if we can, because Sky 5 is showing a pretty well-defined wall cloud that is beginning to develop within this storm. Sky 5 is looking right here, and this is what Chase Rutledge and Sky 5, as well as photojournalist Mark Fricklin, are seeing. And again, it's this lowering that is coming in with this cell. They're currently going to be looking at the wind farms very close to Tuttle and Minco, and so this is going to be from Sky 5 and Chase Rutledge. If Chase is available to talk, I do want to talk to him real quick. Hey, Chase, we're watching this storm. Okay, we'll get Chase on in just a moment here, but this is the scene right now from Sky 5, and once again, this storm has just gone severe thunderstorm warning inside of a tornado watch. Definitely going to be a dangerous afternoon. And look over here. There's sunshine that is coming through, which is going to help increase that instability. That sunshine is not what we wanted to see today. Definitely today is going to be a threatening, has the chance to become quite threatening as we go into the afternoon, which is why we're bringing you all this coverage right now. So a couple things to pass along right now. We do have this severe thunderstorm warning for Oklahoma City. And now we have a tornado warning that is going to be in southwestern Oklahoma. That storm is still in Texas. We're going to get to that in just a second. Let's go to Chase Rutledge. Chase, we see it lowering right in front of you. Give us an idea of what you're seeing from the sky.
Yeah, that's right, Damon. This is straight to the northwest of us and not too far from us. We do have a really strong cell to the south of us that's bringing some heavy rain into this area. We are experiencing some pretty strong south winds coming into this area right where Sky 5 is, and now the winds are really calm, but you can see the lowering that we've been experiencing right here, and this has been getting lower and lower since we've been here. We've been here for about 15 minutes since you picked up our shot. This is right here in that windmill farm. Some of these windmills are already shut down. They've stopped because of those heavy winds that are moving through here, and the lowering in these clouds. We're seeing a lot of activity. These finger clouds that you're seeing, if we bring the camera just a little bit more to the left, Mark, these finger clouds that we're looking at, these are starting to get a lot of activity, a lot of movement. They're starting to rise back up into the base right here. So we're going to take a close look at this lowering that we're seeing right here, because this could definitely produce something. We're going to keep an eye on it as the morning goes on, Damon.
Yeah, absolutely there, Chase. And again, the sky very turbulent this afternoon. And as you can see here, Chase is going to be very close to Tuttle, Minco, looking at those wind farms where severe thunderstorm warning continues. This storm that is in Oklahoma City right now continues to be warned on for up to quarter-size hail, but it is a warning inside of a tornado watch. Very, very concerning, no doubt about it. So hail core, quarter-size hail, is going to be located right along the river. Jonathan, definitely this storm, as well as many more to develop, are all going to be watched closely today.
Absolutely, David. This is what micrometeorology. We got to look at the big picture and then the very small picture. And the one thing, we're going to keep saying this time after time again, where is the cold front over Oklahoma City? Because as this storm moves across that boundary, along that boundary, you have a lot of what we call low-level shear. And if a storm hasn't spun up a tornado before the boundary, as it passes over the boundary, right then and there, that's the last oomph that it needs to produce a tornado. Unfortunately, that is right over Oklahoma City. Right now the storm's kind of stretched out supercell, has inflow on it, it's getting a little bit stronger, but that boundary where Michael and Chris is, right through here, this is the boundary. As soon as that core of that storm passes over that boundary, I would imagine here in the next 5-10 minutes, we're going to see this signature on radar. We're going to watch it spin up even faster and a little bit quicker. That's why Michael is there, Chris Lee is there, Sky 5 is there, and we're going to walk this storm through the metro. As it gets displaced north of that boundary, I'd say at least 10 miles away from that boundary, then the tornado risk with it will go down. Know what other risk we have? Flash flooding. We picked up a lot of rain earlier today right in Oklahoma City, and now you have more storms which are doing this training pattern. It means the train cars all lined up on the train track and they just move over the exact same area time after time again. We may see a flash flooding problem unfold in Oklahoma City, and that's going to be during the commute. This now entering the commute hour, 4, 5, 6 o'clock. So we have multiple threats. You have the hail threat, lightning threat, flooding threat, and that tornado threat. But we're tracking that carefully. And again, Damon, this is just one storm. There are other storms across the state which we're going to have to watch. For example, the tornado warning storm, which is just south of the Red River. That area down there, a lot of energy. Those storms down there could actually be long track supercells because there's nothing in front of them impeding them. So a lot of clean, very humid air. Another storm we got to watch. This is one thing I'm concerned about. This isn't much down near Bray, one little cell. If one cell breaks away from the line and is discrete, and it's just a free storm, that's the one that can really spin up and kind of steal all the energy. That's why Stephen Jones looks like he's heading west and he's intercepting that Bray storm if it would start to get really rooted and explosive. So a lot of threats across the area here, Damon. We're watching it very closely, but that tornado threat is very significant from Oklahoma City south for the afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely. So this has been a very busy day. It started early this morning, and here it is now continuing. And definitely looks like the hail threat may be on the up and up with this cell right here. It might start becoming a little bit more widespread as it goes from Tuttle up to Minco. So this is our storm impact map, and what this allows us to do is it cleans up the radar, puts things in a more simpler kind of view, I guess you could say. looking about a little bit larger than quarter-size hail. Right now, radar is starting to sample the storm, starting to produce up close to golf ball size hail. You can see hail size within this, 1.75 inches, so that's definitely fairly large. Moving to the northeast very quickly, about 36 miles per hour. That brings in the Mustang at 414, Yukon 433. Then we go towards Lake Overholser at 439. One thing you'll notice here, a tornado index, that BTI, that has seen an uptick since we last looked at that. Once it starts to get above 5, you're definitely starting to see the storm spinning even more so. So while this storm is rotating, it's not spinning very tight yet, which is why it's not tornado warned, but we do have, again, a tornado watch that is currently in place until 11 o'clock. So these are all the stats that we're able to pick up out of this particular cell. There's Chris Lee looking right into the heart of the storm, headed into Mustang. Let's go to Chris Lee right now. Chris, give us an update on what you're seeing.
This is the area of that storm. We're north of where Sky 5 was showing you earlier. One thing I wanted to point out, we left I-35. It was kind of over before this did. And it was 81 degrees at 240 and I-35. It is 61 degrees here at Mustang. And that's, I know you've been talking about it a lot, but out here where you're actually feeling that, the difference is just incredible. And you understand that if this storm does move into that 81 degrees, how much more potential there is for it to become severe. So we are definitely glad that over here where the storm is, that there is cooler air for it to work with. We're going to be turning south on Highway 4 and should get a view of the inflow area on this storm, and where Sky 5 was showing you that wall cloud earlier. Right now we're kind of a light to medium rain in Mustang. Most of the heavier stuff is still off to our west and south, but we're watching it come up towards Mustang. Looks like the most severe part of it will stay west of town.
So just a heads up, that storm that you is very close to the boundary, but that boundary is actually on the west side of Will Rogers World Airport. So as you go out towards around the community of Wheatland, so yeah, you quickly went from the warm air to the cool air. However, that storm is right along a stationary boundary, so if it does jog just to the other side of it and makes its way a little bit closer towards Wheatland or the airport, then definitely going to be very concerning. So again, that boundary, you can actually see it right here. See this faint green line? That's that boundary. So it's very mild here. It's quite cool here. That's where Chris is as he's making his way into Mustang, as you can see here. So definitely want to watch that one very, very closely as it continues to make its way up to the northeast. Still finding some areas of rotation very close to Tuttle. That's what Sky 5 is looking at there in the left-hand side of your television screen. It is not, it's not tornado warned. However, remember, we are dealing with a tornado watch that carries us all the way until 11 o'clock tonight. So storms are moving up to the northeast. This is going to be the first severe thunderstorm warning of many more. Right now, it's only 3:45, and now our sun doesn't set until after 8 o'clock. So we still have many hours of daylight, many hours of an unstable atmosphere to battle with. And not only are we talking about a hail threat and a tornado risk, we're also looking at a flooding threat that's going to be quite high as well. A lot of the data that we have coming in right now shows that Oklahoma City could very well see some pockets of 4-inch plus rainfall rates. That's a lot of rain in a short amount of time, and a lot of rain in a period in which we've been picking up a lot of rain over the last couple of months. It has not been dry at all, folks, so our soil really can't take much more water, and definitely we're going to be dealing with a flood threat as we go into the evening. On the left-hand side, you see Sky 5 currently out near Bridge Creek, out by the wind farms, and you can see there, definitely got some low-hanging clouds. It goes to show you just how low the cloud bases are today. That is not going to take much work at all for us to get a tornado. We actually had a tornado that was early this morning down by Ada. That it was a very significant tornado that happened before right around 12 o'clock. Brand new update, the hail core, the hail sizes in this storm that we're looking at right now have now increased up to ping pong ball size hail. So we're now looking at a ping pong ball size hail threat now coming into Oklahoma City. Definitely getting our hail sizes out of the money and coin variety and now going into sporting ball size hailstones. That's big enough to start doing damage. And once again, that's why we told you earlier, tweeted it out, all the such, saying you need to be home by 4 o'clock. If you can't get home at 4 o'clock and then just hang out at work until these storms have pushed right on through here, because that is some large hail. Looking for some areas of rotation, finding some spin. That hail core, we got 2 of them, one on the west side of Overholser, another that's going to be very close to Tuttle and Minco here. Moving up to the northeast, up to now ping pong ball size hail, Mustang 406. Okay, that's from earlier today, by the way. That was from earlier this morning down in Hickory, just for a heads up for everybody there. So, again, this is where that hail core is now going to be located. Chris Lee coming right on up into that hail core, where we are looking at, once again, up to ping pong ball size hail. So that hail threat's beginning to increase. In the rotation, our tornado index is beginning to increase as well. Newest radar scan now brings it up to a 4.8. That's on a 1 to 10 scale. So there is definitely some spin within the storm, although it is not right now very strong, but it does go towards Yukon at 425. We go into Bethany, Whitewater Bay, about 440, and then we go in towards War Acres and Surrey Hills at about 445. Hail core, largest of the hail core, is going to be making its way right over Chris Lee. Let's get Chris Lee back on the phone, because Chris, hail core is getting ready to move right over you. Give us an update on what you're seeing.
Yeah, no hail right where we are. We are at the intersection downtown Mustang, 152 and Highway 4, where 4 goes north. We are kind of in this little notch here of the storm. I think the hail is still mostly to our west, but we're kind of watching this area of the storm. There seems to be kind of a little inflow area here. Not seeing any rotation, and not seeing anything too concerning as far as rotation with the storm right now. But as you said, we have noticed a definite uptick in the intensity, and we're watching it very carefully. I'm kind of seeing if there's going to be any hail falling. Right now, it's not even very heavy rain right where we're at, but I think it may just be a little bit to our west. Also, David, one of the things that's kind of giving us a little problem right now is we're starting to get into rush hour. We're starting to get a lot of traffic out here, and just getting through the town of Mustang is taking us some time, because there's a lot of cars out here, people trying to get home.
Yeah, hey Chris, just a heads up, Storm Prediction Center just went moderate risk, so this is brand new, passing along to you as we speak, is that a moderate risk for severe weather has been issued. Pretty much is going to hug right along I-44, and the moderate risk is going to be for tornadoes. They have brought up the threat of a long track strong tornadoes possible for central Oklahoma, including Oklahoma City. So if you're just now tuning in, if you're just now getting home from work, what do you need to know? A moderate risk for severe weather has just been issued. That's an update coming in from the Storm Prediction Center. And again, that is hot off the press. So that is an increase. We've been hanging out in enhanced risk throughout the day. Now they just went moderate. So we have not had a moderate risk for severe weather in a very, very long time. A very long time. Goes to show you just the kind of atmosphere that we are working with today, but definitely a very unstable atmosphere is going to be setting up across central Oklahoma, and I cannot hit the message hard enough for today. Once again, a moderate risk for severe weather, and the threat for tornadoes is going to be the highest that we have seen today in central Oklahoma, including Oklahoma City, including I-35, I-44 to the east, that we have seen in a very long time. Jonathan, you and I have been here for a long time, and it has been a while since we have last worked a moderate risk. Is that coming in yet on the graphics yet?
Yeah, it's on WSI-1. If they want to pull that up, you can actually see the map. I've highlighted it and talk about that. But yeah, Damon, I don't remember the last time that we've had a high risk, or I'm sorry, moderate risk over Oklahoma City. And that's a large area, that hatch mark area. That hatch mark area is also for strong tornadoes. So you're talking EF2 or stronger. And again, that comes right into Oklahoma City. This is that atmosphere that we're talking about with all the instability and the high shears. So, and one thing too, we don't really need to get hung up on those lines. Someone may say, hey, I'm in Edmond, I'm not in the moderate risk, no big deal. That's not the case. If this front lifts a little bit to the north, it could dramatically change where those lines are. Those lines are not necessarily that sharp. They should be fuzzy when we're looking at this overall outlook. But again, when it comes to the latest update from the Storm Prediction Center and their threat levels, they went moderate for the tornado threat, and that area is highlighted in red. Again, really got to watch it. Of course, the storm that's coming through Oklahoma City right now, the Mustang area, as it passes over that boundary. I think we just really got to pay attention at least between now and about 8 o'clock. I think we have a pretty wide window where the storms are going to do some really weird things.
Yeah, they went 15% hash, which is incredibly high, incredibly high. So that's the confidence that we have right now, and that we're going to see tornadoes for today. Again, we've been doing this since early this morning, and this threat continues. I mean, this is one of the higher end threats that we have seen in quite some time. Let's go out to field meteorologist Michael Armstrong in Storm Command. I know we can see him right here in South OKC. Michael, moderate risk for severe weather, tornado upgrade. Give us an update on what you're seeing.
Well, Damon, we're here just north of Will Rogers World Airport, and what I wanted to share with you visually is that Kyle and I have both been noticing this. The low-level jet, the winds just above the surface, they continue to be strong here on the south side of Oklahoma City, and they're strong right up to the boundary. So what that means is that can fuel the rotation that these storms could develop here if they continue to intensify. That's why we're so nervous about these, because as Chris Lee was mentioning, Damon, there's thousands of people out on the road right now with it being rush hour. I mean, this is why we were saying you do not want to be out here. So I would just encourage anybody who's listening, you need to get home. You really do. You need to get to a place where you can monitor things very closely, and you can put your plan into action, your tornado safety plan, just in case something does develop. We don't have a tornado yet, but just looking at the shear in the atmosphere visually, you can see it, and anybody who's out there, you just look up at the clouds, look up above you, and you're going to see the clouds just streaming from south to north very, very rapidly, and that's the type of motion that we don't want to see whenever we have storms approaching us. So all signs point toward an intensification of these storms and the potential for tornadoes and flash flooding as well. We cannot forget that. That's why we keep saying don't get out and drive in this. Get home and stay home and be able to monitor things.
Yeah, absolutely, Jonathan. Certainly this risk is going to be one of the higher end days that we have seen in a while. And Michael, you're going to be out on top of it as well. Our crews continue to bring you these pictures coming in, but we are seeing at least that uptick in rotation. You can see it right here. There's Chris Lee. There's Mustang. There's Sky 5. Let's go back out to Chris Lee. Hey, Chris, our radar is showing at least some rotation coming in the Mustang right now. What do you see?
Not seeing any rotation in cloud base right now. We are seeing a lot of motion in the clouds. It's some precip right now, but I do have a view to my south, kind of watching that area. A lot of upward motion with the clouds. Again, not seeing the rotation, but we're certainly watching it here. We are just a mile west of Highway 4 as it goes north from on 152. I believe this is Check Hall Road here where we're at, kind of watching off to our southwest.
Yeah, we definitely see that, and again, our radar is showing at least some rotation. It is weak and it is right over you, but definitely one that needs to be watched closely as this storm continues to move up to the northeast, and still looking at quite a bit of hail inside of it as well. So this storm that you see on radar right now continues to make its way up into Oklahoma City, and one of the concerns that we're going to have is this storm coming in during the afternoon commute. Some rotation, and it is picking up as it rides right along this boundary very close to Mustang, and you can see that it actually kind of dots itself up just west of the airport and heads up towards the Outlet Mall with this moving up to the northeast. So we're looking at all of the data inside of this storm. This is moving up to the northeast, definitely going to be quite a hail producer. The warning right now is going to be for up to ping pong ball size hail. So definitely one of the larger hail cores that we have seen, at least so far this afternoon. We've had a couple of have had a couple of quarter-size hail threats, but we haven't had anything yet ping pong ball size. So goes to show you, even with the storms early in the morning and what we have now coming in this afternoon, yeah, those storms this time of the year, while we had them early in the morning, just because it rains in the morning does not mean that the afternoon is going to be severe weather free. We can pick up quite a bit of instability in a very short amount of time, and definitely seeing that. Sky 5 is looking right into this storm, looking into the heart of it, looking out across, right over Will Rogers World Airport, looking to the west. There is at least a wind shift line you can see right here where Chris Lee is. Hail core is going to be largest just northeast of Chris Lee. And now the latest radar scan, we've seen an uptick. Rotation's definitely starting to increase with this cell. Let Chris Lee know that we're starting to pick up some moderate rotation within this storm that is going to be on the southeast side of Mustang, moving up to the northeast here. So make sure that he's aware, he's looking right into it. But definitely this storm is running right along a boundary, and so our latest radar scan just saw an uptick there in that rotation as we continue to feed this storm with a lot of unstable air. You can see it right there as Jonathan has highlighted it on the television screen there for you. So once again, inflow into the storm rushing right over Mustang, and our rotation trackers at least showing an uptick in that. Also, as we go down to the south, seeing a couple more areas of rotation. This storm may look a little suspect, although storms to the east of that may actually block the inflow into that. There's Sky 5 looking right into this storm right here. They're going to be on the north side of Will Rogers World Airport. Let's go out to field meteorologist Michael Armstrong at Storm Command. Michael, give us an update with what you're seeing.
Okay, Damon, yeah, right here in the airport. I don't know if you noticed, but just a moment ago when you came to me, I had almost sunny skies. It wasn't quite sunny, but we've just been enveloped here by a huge low cloud deck preceding these storms. And I'll tell you what, this thing is coming in fast. We saw these clouds pretty much swoop in right over here, over near Will Rogers World Airport. We're going to be taking Airport Road over toward I-44, but everywhere across southwest Oklahoma City right now, here down toward Moore, Norman, really need to pay attention closely to any storms that approach you, just because the atmosphere it's unstable right now. I'm just watching the trees here blowing. The wind has definitely increased here around southwestern Oklahoma City around this storm. And so we're keeping our eyes peeled right now just because, again, Damon, you can see how low the cloud base is. I mean, it wouldn't take much if a wall cloud developed to get something to form right in the vicinity of this boundary. That's why we've been watching it here very closely here over the last hour or so, just kind of parked on this boundary, and that's what it looks like. It looks very ominous right now for folks trying to get home from work, driving down through southwest Oklahoma City down I-44. We're coming up. You're looking due east right now over toward I-44. We're right here at Will Rogers World Airport. And look how low the clouds are right now over the airport, Damon.
Yeah, we definitely see that. Yeah, low hanging cloud deck today, and so it's not going to take much at all for a storm to try to produce a tornado. Usually the cloud bases are a little bit higher up. It takes a little bit of work from Mother Nature, but this is pretty much as low as they can get today. So again, it's not going to take much effort at all for these storms to really get even more significant. So we continue with this severe thunderstorm warning, and still finding at least an area like the inflow notch southwest of Tuttle. We'll have to watch this one pretty closely and see how these storms right here interact with this line right here, but definitely has that at least has that hook feature to it, just southwest of Tuttle, moving up to the northeast here. If you're in Oklahoma County, western parts of Oklahoma County, as you go to Canadian County, definitely the rain's coming down, and it is heavy. And I know the afternoon commute, it is going to be very slow today. So far, we haven't had the storms yet move into Moore or Norman. Air mass is still very much unstable here over Cleveland County. We're going to have to see how these cells move up to the northeast. But knowing what we know right now, and with the newest upgrade that we just got in here from the Storm Prediction Center, moderate risk, and they went moderate for tornadoes. Definitely a concerning afternoon, and that's why we were telling you now's the time that you need to be home. If you know anyone that's at work right now, and they were trying to get home and they couldn't leave the office, just tell them, just hang tight. Just hang tight for a little bit here because you do not want to be on the road as these storms are moving in and the commute's going to be getting pretty significant. And we're likely going to see quite a few backups. Still have a tornado index of a 4.8 with this cell. Going to watch that, see if that can climb. But with that part of the cell, down by Tuttle, comes in at 404. Mustang 427. Yukon 446. Lake Overholser 450. Dell Campus, Bethany, State Fair Park, right by 5 o'clock. And right now, this storm is warned on for up to ping pong ball size hail as this storm moves up to the northeast, headed towards Edmond and the village. Still looking at this this front that is pretty much draped across Oklahoma City right now. So with that line moving up to the northeast, that's going to, if it keeps moving more north up towards Edmond, look at more of a hail risk with it. However, still below the south of the boundary. So as of right now, still looking at that tornado threat. Although we do not have a tornado warning currently in effect at this time. Definitely have quite a bit of. The storm definitely has at least quite a bit of potential to continue to increase as it continues to move up to the northeast. And I expect that this storm is going to hang around for a bit. And Oklahoma City is pretty much going to be at least in the zone to where most of these storms are going to be moving in. Got this line of storms out towards El Reno, moving up to the northeast. But there is a lot, and I mean a lot of rain that is currently making its way right now through Oklahoma City. That's going to lead to a flooding threat as well. Nick Smith, Storm Command, Sky 5, all looking at this particular storm right here, as well as Chris Lee is currently in Mustang. And definitely the potential for this storm to continue to get even stronger is going to be there. On the left-hand side, you see Sky 5 currently in place on this storm as it moves up to the northeast here. Okay. Okay, we just switched over generator there, so we had to. Okay, we're gonna switch over to our backup generator right now. So we might just go black just for a second here. You might see a little flicker on your television screen. Again, we're gonna turn the generator, so sometimes it can actually it can sometimes knock us off air or just knock us off screen just for a second. There we go. All right, so we are back on now. So we just went to backup power here. So we're making sure that we're gonna be able to carry this coverage with you as the storms continue to make their way through here. Let's go to Chris Lee right now. Chris Lee, give us an update on what you're seeing.
Yeah, we are in Mustang, and we are on Highway 4, just north of Highway 152. Very heavy rain, ponding. The water is covering a lot of the outside lanes of Highway 4 here, basically making a 4-lane road into a 2-lane road as that water drains off. So again, back to that, it's pretty slow going out here. We've had issues, getting through. Traffic is pretty thick. The area of rotation we were watching moved just to the east of downtown Mustang.
Yeah.
It was broad. It seems to be remaining broad, and we're going to drop down towards to the south a little bit. Have not seen any hail. I know there was the radar indicated some on the. But I did not see any as we kind of made our loop through Mustang. So I'm not going to say there isn't any, but we did not encounter any hail as we came through.
Okay, well, we'll keep in close contact. Also watching another storm closely down by Lindsay, moving up to the northeast. We're going to have a lot of thunderstorms that are to be in the area, and they're all going to have a risk of severe weather. What concerns me are these storms that begin to get a little bit more isolated. So let's look at the bigger picture right now. Let's pull on out here and show you exactly everything that we're looking at here, because tornado warnings down in southwestern Oklahoma, severe thunderstorm warnings continue, and these storms are all going to move up to the northeast, up the turnpike, and come into Oklahoma City here. And definitely watching this little cell right here down by Lindsay that is all by itself right now here. This is going to be not warned on yet, but this
Just
cell
in case we have to go
by
upstairs,
itself
put shoes on.
in this environment, definitely.
Here comes this way we go
So
downstairs.
this is moving up to the northeast. Going to find at least some area of early signs of rotation that will be happening right here. That will be just in between, looks like the community of Cox City and Aaron Springs, southwest of Lindsay. But see that inflow, that area that's kind of that's pushing in the storm. That's that's what we're watching. I do believe we have Stephen Jones that's currently going to be in this area. So Stephen Jones was the KOCU storm chaser that had that tornado earlier today around noon live in Ada. And so he has been moving up to the north, headed in towards around this area right here, up towards Lindsay. So these storms are just now going up, and they're going up fast. Look at all these right here, down by Lawton. All these are going to lift up to the northeast as well. Definitely a busy afternoon. And if you're just now tuning in, if you're just now getting home from work, what do you need to know for this afternoon? We now have a moderate risk for severe weather. Our tornado index has now gone up to a 10, right along I-44 into the east. Again, a 10. That's a very high chance of a tornado in this area with these cells that are moving up to the northeast here. So right now, severe thunderstorm warned with this cell. Quite a bit of heavy rain. Going to watch that flooding threat very closely with these cells that come into the village, Bethany, and the western sides of the metro, all the way down towards Tuttle. So the severe thunderstorm warning is still watching, at least for some areas of rotation with all these. You can see the hail tracker with that as it has moved up to the northeast. So update right now, tornado warning continues down in southwestern Oklahoma. And a severe thunderstorm warning has just been issued now for Comanche, Cotton, Grady, and Stevens County down in southwestern Oklahoma. So starting to see many more severe thunderstorm warnings being issued with these cells as they are moving up to the northeast here, and still looking at this threat of storms that are currently coming into Oklahoma City as well. So this is going to be Stevens County, Central High, severe thunderstorm warning. Flood warning. Looks like we just had a flood advisory just issued for Oklahoma City as well. But we got a lot of storms to work with here. So first put a storm track with this cell right here. Goes into Central High at 425, Marlow 435. Right now warned on for 60 and quarters, although definitely could very well increase and could see a tornado potential out of that as well. Let's go back up to the north here, come into the Moore and Norman area where we have a flood advisory now issued and the severe thunderstorm warning. And definitely going to start watching a lot of these storms that are coming into the village, into Oklahoma City. This warning right here is going to be for ping pong ball size hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. A new severe thunderstorm warning will be coming out for Oklahoma City very soon. The tornado warning down for Tillman and Cotton County will be allowed to expire. So there will be a brand new severe thunderstorm warning that will be issued for Oklahoma City very soon. They're typing that one up as we speak. So if you have your KOCU 5 mobile app, probably going to have hear that go off. Or if you have emergency alerts activated as well, you're probably going to hear that go off as well on your phone. So your phone's probably going to make some noise any second now with this next severe thunderstorm warning. If it goes off, that means that you are inside the warning. If it doesn't go off, that means you're not in the warning, at least not yet, as these storms are continuing to make their way into the metro. So brand new severe thunderstorm warning has now been issued. Does include OCCC up to Lillard Park, up into OKC. Finding some area of spin in this, although these storms are probably going to, as they continue to move north, will be more rain producers. While we do have a tornado watch for Oklahoma City, that boundary is stuck across South OKC, and so as long as that boundary is still stuck south of Oklahoma City, it's going to be difficult for us to get a more substantial tornado threat. Still, though, and that's why we are here. So putting a storm track with this cell, moving up to the northeast. I know you're already getting a lot of rain right now in all these locations, but at least an area of some stronger winds. Bethany 419, Penn Square Mall 424. We go down to John Marshall High School at 428, Mercy Hospital, the Greens, Quail Creek Heritage Hall 430, Oklahoma City Thunder Practice Facility 430, and then OCU Frontier City and Santa Fe High School a little after 430. So this storm moves up to the northeast, still has a ping pong ball size hail threat, and that hail core, we can go over to storm impact. Let's see how the storm impact graphic is going to look on this. It's going to help us at least be able to clearly see where that hail core is going to be. Okay, this is our tornado index, by the way. Our tornado index. Let's go back over to the radar. So this is where we're finding the hail. So looks like at least the hail has come down a bit, which is what we like to see. Probably going to find a lot of quarter-size hail within this cell right now, from the Outlet Mall to Bethany up towards Wiley Post. A very broad hail core right here, but not a very large hail core, which is good. As it moves into that colder air, that hail may begin to at least come down a bit. So, Jonathan, definitely this has been This is the beginning of what's probably going to be a very busy next couple of hours, but we know that tornado threat and that watch continues until 11 o'clock. It's going to be a busy, busy evening across the state.
It is, Damon. And so we're focusing on Oklahoma City and these storms that are coming in and the risk that's with these storms, the hail threat, the wind threat, the flash flooding threat. This is right when the evening commute is really starting to ramp up. We're watching that. I'm going through radar. I'm trying to pick out all the little eddies that I'm seeing. And there's nothing really, even though we have that boundary draped across Oklahoma City, I don't see anything screaming at me that says, okay, a tornado threat is imminent. There are a couple of areas that are maybe spinning up, but they're not real well defined. But I'm going to tell you something here. Down to our south, this storm down near Lindsay, this is what I get nervous about as a radar meteorologist, is a storm that's all by itself. It's not on the line. It can steal all the humidity and fuel in front of the line of storms. And this storm, even though it doesn't have a lot of rotation, it's not real big right now. What I'm seeing in the storm is that it is rotating, okay? So there's not a big velocity couplet, but you can clearly see the inflow notch, which is developing, a little bit of a hook, which is coming back this way. And on radar, we're seeing some velocity with it also. So this is what I'm a little bit concerned about, is this storm in the Lindsay-Rush Springs area. That one, you know, if it becomes a dominant storm, we're really going to have to watch that. And for downstream, that would impact people like Goldsby, Slaughterville, Lexington, and Wayne. And then we just got to keep looking upstream. There's another cell, which Stephen Jones is down near Central High in Bethel. That one's showing rotation, strong mesocyclone. So I think in the next, here we are, 412. I think things are really going to start spinning up pretty quick with storms across central Oklahoma, Damon. I think we just really got to watch each storm. And it looks like a mess on radar, but we're going to have to break down each cell one by one and find the little couplets.
Yeah, really. And it is going to look like a mess on the radar, no doubt about it. We are going to continue with our coverage, and these storms could be fairly significant today. So I know a lot of you are saying, how bad are these storms going to get? This is now 4 o'clock, so we're starting to see these storms starting to come into a very unstable atmosphere, moving up to the northeast. And so now we have another severe thunderstorm warning that was just issued for this cell that is going to be near Lindsay. So this storm moves up to the northeast, and this cell is going to be of a particular concern because this is all by itself. And I know it looks very stretched out. There's nothing to the south and southeast that is going to be blocking it right now. So brand new severe thunderstorm warning. And this one comes up to the Riverwind Casino, moving up to Norman. So if you're living in Cleveland County, Moore and Norman, if you're wondering when are we likely going to get some storms coming in, this is going to be it. So Norman, Cleveland County, this is your storm coming up to the north. So we will be watching this one very closely because this atmosphere continues to be very much unstable. And as it moves up to the north, definitely has that potential to produce a tornado. This is an area where a tornado index is as high as it can get. The latest update went moderate risk from the Storm Prediction Center, and they did it for tornadoes. And this is the zone right here, as you can see, moving up to northeast. So Sky 5 is currently in Norman. Give him just a few minutes, and he's going to be right on this storm in just a second there, the brand new Sky 5. But yeah, this storm is moving up to the north. So Norman, right now it's 4:15. If you're in Norman, if you're in Moore, heads up. This is going to be your storm. And so at this current track, it could be moving into Cleveland County by 5 o'clock. So if you're in Cleveland County at 5 o'clock, know that there's a very good chance that this storm is going to be one that is going to that this is going to be one of the more significant storms that we have seen coming in. Remember, the environment here is very much supportive of producing tornadoes, and so this is going to be the storm, definitely the storm to watch. Right now, if there's any rotation with this cell, it is going to be very close to Lindsay, moving up to the northeast here. This storm headed to Cleveland County. The storm in Oklahoma City right now is going to be warned on for up to quarter-size hail. So we got a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings now being issued across central Oklahoma. Want to Abigail Opal to do
I'm going to cut this.